Neil. You will be speaking also from the Confident Communicator Manual, Project 5, Your Body Speaks. Objectives are the stance, movement, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact to express message and achieve a speaker's purpose. Also to make your body language smooth and natural, and focus on methods of delivery that do not overlook content. The speech title is The Bare Facts of Living with Wildlife. Lindsay spent several years living and working at a hotel in Yosemite National Park. In that time, she became well acquainted with the local wildlife. Tonight, she'll share facts and stories about her favorite creatures. Please welcome Lindsay with her speech, The Bare Facts on Living with Wildlife.
So hopefully all of you have a colorful handout in front of you. I wanted to start with a question. On the left side of your handout, I've got 3 animals. Number 1 is a mule deer. Number 2 is a deer mouse. Number 3 is an American black bear. And I ask you, which one of these do you think is the most deadly, at least in Yosemite National Park? So show of hands, show of hands. How many of you think number 1, the deer is most deadly? How many of you think number 2, the deer mouse is most deadly? Number 3, how many of you think the bear? A couple. That's kind of evenly distributed. I like that. Of this list, the mule deer on top is the only one to ever directly have killed a human in Yosemite National Park. It was a buck with big antlers. They are very sharp, and deer are also very stupid. So it didn't intend to kill a person, but it did. Number 2, it's kind of debatable. The deer mouse, you may recall the hantavirus scare last summer. Indirectly, they did kill 3 people from breathing in hantavirus from mouse species. The American black bear is the only creature to have never actually killed anybody. They've caused injuries, but they do not have an interest in harming people. How cool. So black bears, they get a bad rap. Yosemite National Park doesn't have grizzly bears. They don't have any large carnivores. It's not like Yellowstone National Park where they have big scary creatures that can cause a lot of damage to you if you annoy them. American black bears actually live on a diet of grasses, acorns in the wild. In the wild, here is the key. But with 4 million visitors each year to Yosemite National Park, they have found a new food source, and that is people food. Just like people, if they can find a more delicious fast food diet, do you think they'd rather have that, or would they rather have the grasses and acorns? Just like people, if someone offers you a salad, McDonald's hamburger, you might pass up the salad. Same thing with bears. So, while bears are not killers, you'll notice in the center section here, they excel at property damage. One of the big responsibilities of living in and in visiting Yosemite National Park is respecting the local wildlife. You have to recognize the animals were there first. They will do what they do. The point of visiting a national park is you want to see wildlife in its wild glory. For many years, I lived in Yosemite National Park. I spent a good portion of that working at the front desk of a very expensive hotel. It was about $400 a night. Folks would drive about 4 hours from San Francisco in to stay at this hotel. I would welcome them to the hotel. I would check them in. I would say, I'm glad you're here. I know you had a long trip, but now I need you to head outside to your car. I need you to completely clean out anything that would attract a bear. Or you're going to wake up in the morning and your BMW, your Land Rover, your Mercedes, bears don't care, they will rip the door off. So I tell them, you have to take everything that is food or resembles food out of your car. That includes food, that includes snacks, that includes canned food. That includes gum wrappers, the Cheerios your kids have been dumped over the back seat for months and caked on car seats. Oh, they love car seats. Bears see car seats, they bring it to the car on visuals alone. kids, we all know kids, food everywhere. But the interesting thing that people had a really hard time understanding was that anything that even has a scent, that's gum wrappers, it's flavored toothpicks, it's after dinner mints, it's sunscreen, deodorant, shampoo, all of those hygiene products that you might not think about attracting wildlife, they attract wildlife. Bears have broken in for gum wrappers. They have. It was a very challenging aspect of my job, convincing city people that no, really, the wildlife is wild. We can't control them, nor would we want to, because that is why you are here. So you see the image of the door broken off here. You'll notice right below there's a tent cabin. I spent an entire summer living in a tent cabin identical to one of these. I could not keep anything with a scent in my tent cabin.
Oh my God.
Nothing. Nothing, nothing. I had a bear locker issued to me. See the bear locker in the middle there? There's one for every tent cabin. I shared it with a roommate along with the tent cabin. Everything had to go in there. And these bear lockers, they're huge, they're ubiquitous in Yosemite National Park. They're squat, they're on the ground, and they're just solid reinforced brown metal. And they have these doors on the front, and the hinges were always squeakier than you could think possible. So you live in a neighborhood of tent cabins, you need to get your toothpaste out in the morning, ka-chunk, ka-pow on the ground. The entire neighborhood's broken. Just get your toothpaste. And you shove it again, you put those big clips on, it keeps the bears from getting in, and it keeps them safe, but it is a big pain. And what's more is, you'll notice this bear is eating food out of a Tupperware. You also have to keep your food in a big Tupperware like this because the mice would get into it. And by the way, that hantavirus scary deer mouse poop is everywhere. I did my fair share of cleaning up deer poop. Employees live in tent cabins just like the ones that the guests became sick from, so employees are actually very lucky that they were not exposed or didn't come down with that. Finally, the barricade. If you're going to the back country, there's bears there also, and there's less people around, so you're more likely to be a target. I did a lot of overnight backpacking. You have to take all of your food, all your sticky stuff once again, put into what's called a bear can. You have to have a quarter or a Swiss Army knife to be able to undo the latches to get it open. So I'm not a big person. I didn't have a big backpack. That bear can took up almost my entire pack. I rented it from the Rangers. But it's really important. You don't keep it inside your tent. People say, well, no, the food in my car is okay. It's in a bear can. So your car is also basically a tin can for that bear to rip it open. So same thing, you have to take the bear can away from your campsite, upwind at least 100 feet, because bears will check it out. It is what they do. Bit of a tangent. What's wrong with this squirrel?
It's eating everyone. It's bad.
Just like the bear lockers are ubiquitous, obese squirrels are ubiquitous in Yosemite National Park. You wouldn't walk up to a bear and feed it. They can directly feed it with the stuff you leave in your car. People think the squirrels are so cute. Oh, it's begging, let's feed it. So many fat squirrels, and you live there, and you hate fat squirrels. You hate them so much. And you hate the deer too. The only things I actually like are the bears, and they're the most interesting creatures. Moral of the story is, do not feed the wildlife. The fat squirrels attract predators, which maybe is a good thing for the guests, because they always say, where can I see a bear? I say, well, it's not a petting zoo. We do not have an arrival time set for this bear. If you're lucky, you will see one. Or maybe leave some food in your car and hang out all night in the parking lot. Honestly, if you go to the parking lot in the middle of the night, the bears know they are not biologically nocturnal, but they become nocturnal because that's when it's quiet and they go out. If you want to see a bear in Yosemite National Park in the middle of the night, follow the rangers around. Don't feed the animals. Mr. Toastmaster.